Hey guys, it's Robin, and you're listening to the Live Life Balance podcast. My heart is full knowing that you're here today, prioritizing you and your wellness. This podcast is for women looking for an authentic, supportive community to learn about wellness from all angles and who want to just feel their best. I'll be your guide, pointing you to ideas and tools that you can experiment with to find what works for you, because we all bring different experiences and knowledge to the table. No pun intended. Health is not a one-size-fits-all. By feeling our best, we're able to show up in our purpose, and that allows us to live the most joyful life, even in the most challenging times. Together, we're going to grow by learning to align ourselves and taking some simple, actionable steps that feel right for you. We're going to talk about self-care. We'll talk about nutrition, daily toxins. We'll talk food swaps. We'll definitely be talking about mindset and reframing our thoughts because it's so important. I hope that you leave today feeling more empowered and at ease. And I hope that you can take one or two small steps to be able to create the you that you want to be. Are you ready for all the possibilities? If you said yes, say, I am ready. Now let's get into it. Hi, and welcome back to Live Life Balance with Robin. Thank you so much for joining me today. I always feel super blessed when you tune in, taking time away. It's your valuable time that you have during the day. I know we're all stretched thin, and when I see you showing up to listen to what I have to say, it really just warms my heart. So thank you again for joining in. It's that time of year, right? It's school's back for many, or, they're getting ready to go back to school very soon, again, if they haven't already. I have a senior in high school, and I also have a junior in college. And I was just having some thoughts over the last couple of weeks, but, many of us moms are experiencing a mix of emotions. So raise your hand if you're not driving, or even if you're driving, if you're having these emotions. If your emotions are running high, if you just have a new challenging, or not challenging, but if you have a new situation arrangement, maybe you have a college student, maybe your kids are going off to kindergarten or, high school for the first time. And just acknowledge whatever feelings are coming up for you as this time, is coming to a start. For some of us, there could be a sense of sadness, maybe, feeling kind of like we have a loss, if our children are going away and they're not going to be in our daily, day-to-day things that we have going on. For me personally, when my first daughter went off to college, it was a really challenging time in our family situation, because we also had my mom living with us, and she was getting ready to move to assisted living, and Delaney was getting ready to move to college, and there was just so much going on, and it was so chaotic, and the emotions were high, and I feel like I didn't really have a chance to kind of process everything that was happening until after it all happened. And once, they were both in their new places, was finally the time where I could actually take a breath and, start to feel the feelings that were coming up. And to be honest, I told myself for probably the first six, 7 months that she was away at college, that she was just at camp, and, she'd be home soon. And so that's kind of what got me through any of those days where I just kind of felt like uneasy. Might not have been the best way to process things, but at the time it worked. So for other people, they feel kind of a sense of relief that they're kind of getting more time for themselves. But at the same time, they're also potentially could be feeling, concern for their kids, being okay in school. Maybe they're going to a new school, or they're going into a new grade, or perhaps, they're transitioning, or, from middle school to high school, or high school to college, and are they okay in their classes, and who are they going to sit with at lunch? And, most moms have all these things whirling in our head that we might not express and talk about out loud, but that worry and concern for our kids, I feel like is, for most moms, is always there. We can look at these situations and process them differently depending on how we talk about them and how we think about them. And perhaps you journal about it, or you write about it, or you pray about it, or you talk with your friends and your family about the feelings and emotions that you're having. But I do truly believe that whatever feelings we're having, they're real feelings. Your feelings are valid, but they give us a lot to think about. And I think when we start to think about these feelings, lots of things come up. I know for myself, having a senior now, another daughter who's a senior, my emotions are very different than what they were with my first. And I think circumstances are different, but I think also knowing that she's our last, and when she leaves, we're going to be empty nesters. And that's a whole another new chapter, of life and our journey that we're on. But I feel with her, I'm able to sit in my emotions a little bit more, because we don't have kind of some of the other chaos that we had going on with my other daughter. So I feel like this year I'm going to be definitely more emotional. So watch out, because it is what it is. The transition, whether it brings up emotions that are happy or sad, the ultimate reality is that it does give us more freedom. It gives us more freedom of time, more freedom to take that time and do something for ourselves. And we deserve it. We're moms that have worked hard. We've gotten our kids to, the point where they're flying, they're seniors and they're flying, or they're, college kids and they're flying. And it's like, we have these kids, it feels like just yesterday when they were born, that saying, the years are, long, but the days are long, but the years are short. It's so true when you get to this junior, senior, college age kids adventure or challenge, or, space in your journey. It's like, we've taken all of these little tiny beings, and we've raised them up, making sure they're okay and properly cared for, and that we're teaching them morals and values and all of these things that we're teaching them along the way, how to overcome adversity, how to get through challenges, how to navigate life. We're doing all of this for 18 plus years with the ultimate goal of watching them fly. And so when that time finally comes and they actually are doing it, for me, seeing my older daughter, succeed and feel good, and trust me, there are challenges in every stage of life. And so there were challenges in the first year of college, just like there's challenges in the third year of college. Every year brings new challenges and new things to learn from, because that again is part of life and part of our journey. But to see her, growing and expanding and moving through these more adult things, the reflection is that we've done a good job. We've all done a good job. We're doing the best we can, and our kids will all be okay. We might not have, everything perfect, because nobody's perfect, and mothering is hard and parenting is hard, and you never know if you're actually doing the right thing at all the right times, but we all get through it, and our kids are going to turn out to be amazing human beings, as long as we show them love and good morals and good values. I think they're all going to be good. But I really wanted to talk a little bit today about, what are we going to do with this time? We've now been given this gift of a little bit more time to take a breath, to sit with ourselves, to be present. And, sometimes, moms or parents in general put themselves and their needs aside while they're caring for their children and working and doing all the things. And that's okay if it's done in a balanced way. But then again, when there comes a time that we have a little more time to invest in ourselves, I think we should, because we deserve it. We've been working hard, and our health and our wellness is what's going to allow us to live longer. It's going to allow us to show up better for our kids, and our grandkids and our great grandkids. So again, today I wanted to talk a little bit about what are you going to do with your time? Like, what are you going to do with the space that you've been given now that your kids are back in school full time, or that they're going off to college? Just as we support our kids, in our children's growth in school and in life and their well-being, we have to do the same for ourselves and prioritize ourselves. So what I'd like to do is, I'd like to encourage you just to kind of, if you're not driving, just to kind of close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and really just kind of center yourself. Forget about what kind of came before this and what you've got going on after this. And if you're driving or you're walking, don't close your eyes, but just kind of, gaze out. Again, obviously if you're driving safely, but gaze out and just take a few deep breaths and really just start to think about yourself. Start to think about where you're at emotionally. You have to kind of talk about and feel the feels to be able to move past them. And I don't mean that you're going to move past them and never have them again, because these feelings that we're having, emotional feelings we're having with our kids leaving for college and getting ready to, they're going to come up and down for a long time. So they're not just going to, go away. So we have to learn to acknowledge them. We have to learn to talk about them and, be supported by other women who are going through the same things, and talk to your family and your significant others also, because everybody deals and is going through the changes, just could potentially be in a different way, but they're there definitely to support you. So with the extra time, some of the things, that you could be thinking about are, what activities you might engage in that might bring you extra, or bring you joy in general. Will you focus on your physical health or potentially your mental health? What goals will you set for your wellness journey? When we talk about, setting goals, pick something that, you've been wanting to do or meaning to do that you haven't done because you just haven't had the time. Now that you have the time, let's pick one of those goals. And then from that, make sure the goal is attainable. Make sure that, it makes sense to you. Make sure that, it's specific. We're not gonna, just say we're going to travel, because that's a goal, but it's not really a specific goal. So if one of your goals, is to travel, to 3 states, pick one state and then, make steps to get there. If your personal goal is to, find more movement in your day, make something just specific. Don't be very generalized. But once you kind of come up with a goal, you're going to want to break it down. You're going to want to write a couple of things that you're going to do in order to get to the goal in which you're creating. But the one thing I really want you to focus on is, what is the feeling you think you're going to get when you get to your goal? When you cross the finish line of a race or getting to a goal, a lot of times, or if we're looking to lose weight, or if we're looking to, find more movement or find joy, ultimately what we're telling ourselves is that we're trying to accomplish something that's going to get us somewhere, to make us feel a certain way. And so when you're analyzing or, thinking about your goal, think about what it is that you're going to feel like when you get to that goal or destination. But then I want you to take that feeling that you think you're going to have then, and I would like to encourage you to try to have that feeling on a daily, if not on a daily basis, several times a week. And I think that's super important, because what would it look like, or how would it be different if you felt that feeling every day? And I personally think whatever that end feeling is, if you could feel that during the process of getting to the end, it would be a much more joyful experience. For me, I've been focusing on movement, and movement out of the house, because for the last couple of years I've been doing most of my movement in my house, or walking outside or on the trails. And so I decided this summer to join my daughter and another friend who's like a daughter, we went to bar, and I absolutely loved it. I love being pushed. I love that it's not something crazy where, I'm lifting crazy weights or doing anything, but man, is definitely a workout for this 50-year-old lady over here. So, but all of a sudden my bar partners are gone. They've gone back to school, and I'm still going to bar though, because I made a commitment to myself, and my commitment was that I was going to take this up, and add it into my movement to make, my be a part of my wellness journey. So again, for you, it's going to look different. Whatever your goal is, whether you want to add in more vegetables, whether you want to maybe crowd out some of the processed stuff that you're eating, whether it has to do with movement, whether it's about creativity. Maybe you're in a space where you haven't been creative in a while. Pick something creative that you like, and it doesn't mean drawing, and it doesn't mean it has to be pottery or something like that. Creative could be organization. It could be redesigning a room in your house. And if you're not redesigning it completely, moving stuff around, freshening up something. All of those things are creative. So don't think of creative as just painting and art. Whatever that is, for you, what looks like for you, again, just go through the steps and think about the feeling that you're going to be feeling. The other thing is, we have to learn to kind of embrace change, because change is the only thing in our lives that is constant, and that's for real. Change is something that, depending on how you look at it, the outcome's going to be different. So, for example, like, what if during this changing season, we show up for ourselves like we've been showing up for our kids their entire life? And I think sometimes, again, like I said, as moms or parents, we kind of put ourselves and our needs to the side while we're caring and trying to figure out how to be a parent and be a good parent, and what do they need, and all the things. But again, let me ask that same question. What if you showed up for yourself like you showed up for your kids? I think that if we all did that a little bit more, because we're all amazing moms, and we're all doing our very best to make sure that our kids are well taken care of and that they have all of their needs met. And I just think sometimes, what if we applied that same principle to ourselves? For me, I think if I treated myself like I treat my children, I might get to certain goals that I'm working on a little bit faster, because I would be more present, and I would be more mindful, and I wouldn't let them slip away, and I wouldn't let them, push to the side. But again, that's life, and life is all about the ups and the downs and the dips and the curves. And so give yourself grace, get back on the horse, and keep going. I was thinking the other day also that, like, in kindergarten, we have like the boohoo breakfasts. And I think they are needed in kindergarten, because, your little babies are going away from you, for the first time for a long day. But I was thinking, man, having seniors and having for the first time when your children are leaving, that first year, each child, it's like, that's really when you need the boohoo breakfast, because we really need that community of people that are going through similar things and that can listen and be there and support. And I think, having a supportive group of women while we're going through these transitions is super important, to not only be there to listen, but to encourage and to cheer you on. And so I turned 50, as most of you know, in May, and I decided to do this podcast because I feel like I'm at a pivotal time in my life where I want to be surrounded by like-minded people. I want to be surrounded by people who are looking to grow themselves. I want to be around people who are educated in the wellness space. I want to talk to them. I want to learn from them, because the more we learn and the more we can, take in and learn what works for us and what doesn't work for us. Again, it's all part of the journey and being our healthiest version, so that I can show up best for my kids, for my spouse, for myself, for my grandchildren, and ultimately that's my big picture goal, I guess. one of the things I did also besides this, creating this podcast, was I created a Facebook group, and it's centered around the podcast, and it's called Live Life Balanced with Robin podcast. I'll drop it in the show notes, but it's a private group where I'm, inviting people that are like-minded, that want a sense of community, that is non-judgmental, that feels free to speak their truth, put their wins out there, put their challenges out there, ask questions, and learn from each other. Because again, together we're better. And I think having that support really helps us invest in what it is that we're trying to do to create better wellness and health. So if you're interested in doing that, I would love to have you in the group. You can always DM me if you have any personal questions that you don't want to put in the group. But I think ultimately going forward in this next little season of change for each of us, it obviously looks different, but I encourage each of us to sit and have some quiet time, sit with our emotions, feel our emotions, talk about our emotions, and then what are we going to do with our emotions? And then what are we going to do with our free time? And so again, what is it that you're going to do during the time that you've now been given to work on yourself so that you can have the best health and wellness you can have to show up the best for your family? I hope that this episode resonated with you. I hope that you got something out of it. I would love to know what you did get out of it. Feel free to comment below in the podcast, or again, join my Facebook group and please share there. Until next time, I hope that you find peace, love, and light by breathing. Remember to do those big belly breathing, being present and allowing for all possibilities to come your way. I loved being here with you today. I hope that you got something from today's mini episode. I'd love to hear what resonated with you. Drop a comment below, and if you feel led to, download this episode and share it with someone that you love that needs to hear this message. To stay connected, check out my Instagram and Facebook pages at Live Life Balanced with Robin. Join my newsletter, my blog, or even opt in for my free junk food cleanse sheet at my website, which is www.livelifebalancedwithrobin. And if you're looking to work one-on-one with someone on your health journey, check out my services page on my website too. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your day. It truly means a lot that you are allowing me to be on your wellness journey with you. Until next time, find peace, love, and light by breathing, being present, and allowing for all possibilities to happen.